So a federal judge has ruled that the New York primary will in fact have to take place on June 23rd. As you know, last week the New York Board of Elections basically canceled it, saying it was moot. It was just a beauty contest at that point because Bernie had dropped out, and so it's Joe Biden. He's the de facto nominee in this case. So let's just take everybody else off the ballot. Let's cancel the whole thing. We don't want to be putting more people in danger because of the coronavirus and all this, obviously just bullshit excuses to try to blunt any type of support going to other candidates that weren't Joe Biden, the anointed, who has been basically anointed the nominee by the Democratic establishment and the hacks within the corporate media. So kudos to this federal judge for overruling that. United States District Judge Annalisa Torres overruled this, and so the New York Board of Elections, quote, must reinstate the Democratic primary ballots. Those presidential and delegate candidates who were duly qualified as of April 26, 2020, and to hold the primary election on June 23rd, 2020, the ruling said. So I mean that's good, and I mean I almost feel like if this had gone through and they canceled this Democratic primary, it would have been potentially something Trump might have used as some type of ammunition to try to postpone or cancel the general election, somehow, and it would just gave him some fodder for that. It was like, well, I mean, the Democrats already did that in New York. I'm just following their lead. It's not safe for people to go out and, vote right now. And the thing with the New York primary, how these just corrupt, Democratic Party hacks who are on the New York, election board, I mean, all of New York State is already voting by mail, you fucking dumbasses, obviously. So how keeping those people on the ballots, keeping Bernie on the ballots, all these other candidates along with Biden, that's not going to put anybody else at risk. They're already going to be voting on other issues, and so their names would just be added to it, and they're voting by mail. Nobody's having to go out and risk their lives to vote, as it should be. We should obviously institute voting by mail across the United States. It makes sense, and we shouldn't be making people go out to these polling places like they did in Wisconsin and other places. But it's like, I mean, if anybody still has any hope that the Democratic Party can be reformed, I have a bridge, a nice bridge I would like to sell you for a good price, because it's like, Jesus Christ, they're canceling elections, they're propping up this alleged rapist, this confirmed warmonger, corporatist, right-winger in Joe Biden, while they did everything that they could to make sure Bernie Sanders wasn't the nominee. And, the Democratic Party, the Democratic establishment does not give two shits whether they win or not. All they really cared about was making sure Bernie Sanders wasn't the nominee, because he actually, stood for some really positive things that would benefit, the working class of the United States. And, that obviously goes against the ethos of the Democratic Party and the Democratic establishment, because they're corporate overlords on Wall Street and in the health insurance and pharmaceutical industries, the military industrial complex. It would be bad for business. So it's not about winning, it's just making sure there's no type of actual real progressive change that happens in this country. And New York Board of Elections trying to cancel the Democratic primary for president in that state is just another example of them doing everything that they could to prop up, this horrible candidate in Joe Biden. So kudos to that federal judge, Annalisa Torres, for upholding that. And at least people now will be able to go out and, or I should say, will be able to, vote by mail and let their voices be heard, even though again, it's clear that there's no hope for reforming the Democratic Party whatsoever. It's completely corrupt. It's completely bought and paid for by big money, by special interests, and you know, all the leaders are bought and paid for. Even Bernie Sanders, he's beholden to those same people and those same interests, and isn't willing to speak out against them. So we'll see. Do you think Biden still wins the Democratic primary in New York, or will it be somebody else? Share in the comment sections down below. Peace. Much love.